Hi guys, welcome along to our latest how-to video. Today we're going to show you how to mark out footings for an extension or a building, outhouse, anything like that. First of all, what you're going to need are the following tools. So we've got a few levels, a hammer, string lines, a large square, tape measure, pencil and some line marking paint. That's about all you need. Depending on the circumstances you might need something different, but you know, that's a good basis for you. First thing we need to do is work out how wide the footings need to be. So if you're building an extension or anything like that, it's very important that you work with your local authority. So we're in Warwick District, so obviously Warwick District Council, and your architect will also work alongside them to ensure that you meet all the building regulations when you're doing your build. So we can see here, this is where our footing is going to be. As you can see, it's quite an odd shape, but today, for ease of purpose, I'm going to show you just how to do straight footings. These footings are going to be 600mm wide. Our actual brick wall is going to be 310mm because we're using imperial bricks. So what we've done is, as you can see here, we've taken the old wall down. We're going to actually reuse them bricks in the pillars of the extension, just so it matches in perfectly with the rest of the house. So a brick wall is going to be slightly wider than normal because they're imperial rather than metric. But like I say, for this purpose, our footing is going to be 600mm wide. So what we need to do is find out the centre of that, and that's going to be the centre of the bucket for when your dig is actually excavating. So we've extended our string line, we fixed it down here on a fixed point against the wall. I've got my glamorous assistant Joe there. So what he's going to do is basically wait for me to move this line across. As soon as it makes contact with that wall there, I know there that I'm parallel with the building. So my external skin of this wall is going to be parallel all the way down. So, point it in slightly. I know I'm well past the corner of the footing here, which is important. You don't want to leave it too close, you've got to give yourself a bit of tolerance. Okay, so wind this in, get it close to the ground. Is that tight against the wall there, yeah?
Yeah, that's tight now.
Okay, cool. Right, so what I'm going to do then is move this pin across, and then as soon as Joe sees it touch the wall, we're going to fix it into the ground, and that will give you your position then. Make sure the line's nice and tight so it's not sagging at all.
Yeah.
Yeah?
That's it.
Okay, we good there?
There you go, bang on there.
Still happy?
Yeah.
Perfect, there we go. So our first line's set. You know we've got the outside of the cavity wall fitted there, so we're ready to go. So, we've got our datum point, this string line here. It's important to remember that this represents the outside of the wall, not the actual footing itself. Okay? We know that our wall is going to be 310mm overall. Because we're using imperial bricks, they're 110mm. We're then using 7N thermalite blocks, which gives us an overall wall thickness of 310mm. So what we need to do is, using that measurement, we then need to halve that, so 155mm. From this line in will give us the centre of the footing. We then know we need 300mm either side of that, and that's going to be the whole width of the footing because it's a 600mm footing. What we're going to do now is just measure out a few points across there, we'll get another line across and we'll mark it out. So, as you can see, our line is slightly elevated from the ground, so rather than trying to eye it up, because then you're going to come out with a plumb there, we're going to get a level and a pencil and we're going to plumb this line down to the floor. Make sure that you only just touch the line when you're level. Okay, so if you just put a small pencil mark there, well, a decent pencil mark there that we can see. Okay, same again. And then down this end as well. That's all. Okay. There you go. Okay, so we've got our 3 points of reference running along the line. Now what we need to do is measure in 155mm. From that point there. So that is the centre of our footing. Write a little C on there, just so we know that's centre. Find the other line, which is there. And the first line we did. Just there. Okay. You see on this one as well, so I don't forget. There we go. This is our centre line now. So now what we're going to do, we'll get a string line straight across there. We'll spray it in. Job done. That is the centre of your footing. As I said before, we're going to mark out. We've got all our markings now, our bearing points. So we're going to put a string line down here. Yeah, and then we're going to line marker it. So then we've got our datum line then. So Joe's just getting ready for us. So wrap it around the brick a few times just to make sure it's nice and solid. It's not going to move anywhere. Right, and then we've got our centre lines here. Look, you can see that. Joe's going to line his up just over there. How are we looking, mate?
Yeah, bang on.
Yeah. Just for peace of mind, just check your middle line as well. Yeah, we can see we're on there, that's all good. Then get the spray paint. Now we need to move on to your next line. Okay, so we've marked out the centre of this footing. Now we need to run this footing over here. Okay, as I mentioned before, it's important this is dead square because obviously you don't want it to cause you problems later on down the line. So we know this footing is 5539.5. Okay, we're going to round that up to the nearest mil because half a mil when you're doing footings is a bit excessive, but architects do like to get it perfect. Can't knock them for that. We know this footing here is going to be 750 wide because we're actually taking one of these beams in just over there. One of these beams that's in there, I believe it's this one, yeah, this one in here, is actually going to be situated in the footing because it's part of the cantilever system for the opening doors on the side of the house. So this is a slightly wider footing to allow for all that sort of stuff in there. So we know that's 750 wide. So off our total measurement of this footing, we're going to take off 375, which is half the footing, and then we can use that as our dating point then to square across, yeah, and then from that, that gives us the centre line of that footing. So let's get set up. So we've measured down our centre line to exactly where the centre of this footing is going to be. Okay, there's our mark there. Now we're going to get our square, sit it on the floor, very carefully line it up with our existing datum line. So our corner's here and it's running parallel with the string line that we've got in place. So now we know that's a perfect right angle, so we can run this line straight down there and that's going to be centre of this footing. It's always important that you square this off, I can't stress that enough. Right, if you haven't got a big square like this, you can use the 3-4-5 method, which is something that we can go into in the future, but for purposes of this footing and this video, I'm not going to go into it right now. Right, so we've got our square ready, we're going to set this line out here, got our datum point here, going to get this peg fixed into the ground. So it's important that you get this side lined up with your datum point here, yeah, and then you can square the line over to suit. So, just found a hole in between the slabs here. As you can see, just touching it. Yeah, you don't want to make it go too far over because if you push it, it's going to throw your line out. So, now what I need to do is eye this through here. We know now that that is bang on. So where Joe's got the line there is perfect. Okay, if you just tie that off, mate. Cool, so we've got our large square out of the way. We're going to repeat the process with the line marker. And there you go. So everything's marked out now. You found the centre of your footing. You've squared it all off the wall. You've squared both walls together, so you know they're at a perfect right angle. So you know you're going to have no issues then building off these footings. That's about it. Hopefully you liked this video. If you did, make sure you click that like button, and also while you're there, hit the subscribe button because we'll be bringing you plenty more stuff like this. Take care. See you later.